Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am super excited for this video because I'm going to be doing a full review of the BK Beauty brushes and also their sponge as well. So I have the entire collection here to talk about today, and I'm super excited to really dive in and let you know all of my thoughts on these brushes, which ones are my favorites, which ones I could skip on, and just giving you my recommendations because there's definitely some really good standout brushes in here. Also, full transparency as always, I purchased a few of the brushes myself, and then they sent the entire collection, well, almost the entire collection except the 101. I don't have a duplicate of this one, unfortunately, but I just wanted to let you know that it kind of is a little bit of both. I was definitely willing to spend my own money on this brand because I really love the message behind them. If you've not heard of BK Beauty before, they were a brand that was started by Lisa J Makeup here on YouTube. BK Beauty is all about bringing beauty and kindness together. I believe that they give a portion of all of their proceeds to the kindness campaign, so definitely check out their website if you want to read more about that. But I love a brand that gives back. Also, I do have a discount code with BK Beauty, which is just AMYLOVES, and it saves you 10% off if you are interested in trying anything from them. So let's just go ahead and jump on into the full review. Okay, so let's start off with the tiniest brush from BK Beauty, and this is the 208. It is such a small little eyebrow brush. I don't know if you can tell, it is very tiny, and it is pretty dense. You could definitely use this for liner if you wanted to and you like to get really precise close to the lashes, but I personally really love this for my eyebrows and for one specific area, which is that I really like to get right into the front of my brow with this because it is so tiny. It creates very natural hair-like strokes, and it doesn't add a ton of product, it just adds the perfect amount. So I like to fill in the front of my brow with this brush, which I know is a very specific purpose, but I really love the job that it does, and it's just become one of my favorite brushes. So next is the 101 foundation brush, and I absolutely love this. This is another one that I would count as a favorite. It's literally the perfect foundation brush because the curvature and the angle just really allows you to get around any areas of your face. You can get around the brows really easily, underneath the eyes, and it blends really nicely down the neck as well. It's also dense enough that it blends foundation out really quickly. There's no streaks, but it's also soft enough that it doesn't feel like you're dragging on your skin. It's not pulling, and it's just so good. I really love this one. I think it might be my favorite brush overall from BK Beauty. I know it's one of their best sellers, and I would say it is definitely worth the hype. And then they have another foundation brush, and this is the 106. It's more of like a round flat foundation brush, and this one's not bad by any means. It gets the job done, it blends foundation in. It's a little bit less dense than I would like. I prefer my foundation brushes to be a little bit more dense, especially because I go in with a lot of stick foundations, and this is a little bit too flippy floppy for stick foundation because I really have to like blend hard in order for it to blend in, which is not what I prefer because it's not dense enough. If I use a liquid foundation, it blends in pretty. It's nice, but if I were going to recommend a foundation brush, it would definitely be the 101 over the 106. Maybe if you prefer foundation brushes like this, if that's like your preferred method, you just love this shape, then it could be good. I've also tried using this for blush, and that wasn't my favorite. I felt like it didn't blend it out as much because I just didn't love the shape overall. So I like this. I would use it if my 101 was dirty, but it's definitely not my favorite. Alright, so next I have the BK Beauty sponge, and honestly, I knew that this would not be a favorite from the moment I saw it online. I didn't even buy it, but just seeing it on the website, because I think that this retails for $13 or something like that, which is not a terrible price for a sponge, especially in comparison with other sponges out there. But if you know me, if you're not new to my channel, I'm obsessed with the Shop Miss Pawpaw sponges. I have one in front of me that's quite dirty, so I really need to replace it. I've got more backups, but this is like $1.55, and honestly, I would say it's the same quality as the Beauty Blender. So every single sponge that I try, I'm like, oh yeah, it's good. Like, it's soft. I like the shape of this. It's nice. But no matter what, the $1.55 sponge always wins. Like, it's just that it is what it is. So although this sponge is good, it's soft, it gets the job done, $1.55. Like, I can't compete with that. Okay, next is the BK Beauty 108. This is definitely one of my top favorite brushes. It has so many uses, and it's literally just the perfect brush because it is dense enough that you can actually use this to blend out concealer and to blend out cream products. You can blend out concealer really beautifully with this, and it just looks flawless. You can also set underneath your eyes with this as well. set on the forehead, set underneath the eyes, set on the chin, wherever you want to set. This does a really, really great job of really just fitting right there underneath the eyes, and it's super soft. I also love this brush for highlighter as well. I feel like it applies highlights so beautifully. They really blend into the skin effortlessly, and it just gives kind of that glow from within. I can take highlighters that are very intense and apply them with this and just get that really soft, beautiful glow. It also is fluffy enough that it blends the highlight back, and it's so good. I'm actually tempted to buy a backup of this one because I use it for so many different purposes. I'm looking at the shape now, and I feel like it would be perfect for contour right as well, like getting right in that hollow of the cheekbone. So I just love this one. Again, like I said, it's one of my favorites, the 108 So Good. Okay, so now we're going to jump into kind of big, fluffy face brushes. There's a bunch of those in this line, and the first one is the BK Beauty 105, which is just a very dense powder brush. I don't know if you can see, it's super dense, which honestly I don't really have a use for a brush like this. I think if you use powder foundation, this would actually be pretty nice because you could blend it super quickly, and it's dense enough that I think it would add some coverage, and this could be great for that. If you have oily skin and you like to really set your face and you like to really just dab it in and go all over with your setting powder, maybe you'd like this as well. But for me, I have dry skin. I don't use powder foundation. I don't really set my face a whole lot with powder, especially not like the entire face by any means. So this one is definitely not a favorite just because I don't have a use for it. I mean, it's soft, it's dense, it's beautiful, like it's a nice brush, but it doesn't really add anything for me and how I do my makeup. Next is the BK Beauty 103, which is another big fluffy brush. This one's a little bit more tapered, and then it kind of gets fuller at the end. And I could see using this for a few different things. You could use it for setting your face with powder really lightly if you wanted to go ahead. It's not quite as dense, so it would give a little bit less coverage. It's also tapered enough that I feel like you can use it for bronzer, and it works perfectly fine for that. It's not a bad brush by any means, but I have other brushes that I prefer of this line for bronzer, so again, that one's not a favorite for me. So next is the BK Beauty 102. I have a hair wrapped around it because that's the story of my life, but I really like this one for two different options. One is I like to use it if I am setting my face, and I like to go in with like a glowy powder, something that has a little bit more of a satin feel to it, or I'll take a very natural highlight depending on how I'm feeling on the day and just kind of lightly do like a little quick motion over my face. This one is very fluffy, so it's really nice for that. It's very soft, and I don't know, I just really like the shape. It's so soft that it feels really good to put on the skin. It's not like a crazy unique brush or anything, but it feels nice to use and it gets the job done. I also like using this for bronzer, which is nice because it is so fluffy that when I go in with bronzer and this, it's just like a very light wash of bronze. So I'll just quickly do like the little 3, and it just gives me the most natural bronze look because this is such a big fluffy brush. It's not super dense, and it still kind of has like that taper to it. So I feel like if I'm adding the product right on top, it's being placed down, but it's also blending at the same time. So I really like this one, and it's one that I see myself reaching for a lot as I continue to do my makeup, and whenever all these brushes kind of disperse themselves into my giant pile of brushes, because as of right now, I've just had them in a cup sitting beside me so that I could test them for the last month or so. I've been using them almost exclusively. So next is another bronzer brush, and this is the 104. I do really like this one for bronzer. It just is your typical like kind of fluffy pointed bronzing brush, so it gets right into the cheekbones. It's kind of big enough that you can definitely get some definition if you go around your face and your forehead and everything. It again is very soft, so I like the feel of this one, and I think that it just blends bronzer really nicely. I also really like using this one for powdered blush. It is kind of a larger brush, but if you apply the blush right on top and you just dip it into the pan, I feel like that little area there is tapered enough that it hits right on the cheekbones, and you can really add it on the apples and just blend it out, and it looks really pretty. It's fluffy enough that it kind of disperses the blush really well. It's not going to be crazy blush cheeks or anything, so I really like this one, and I think it gives like a very natural look for bronzer and blush. Next, I have the 107 brush, and when I first tried this, I was a little bit disappointed, and that's because I was looking to get a bronzer brush with this, and it is a really good shape for bronzer, like it gets right where I want it to go, but it is very dense, and I felt like it was applying my bronzer very heavily, which is not my preferred method to apply bronzer. So I didn't really find myself reaching for this, and I was kind of just like kind of whatever about it. Like, it kind of felt like a regret. But then I saw Lisa J doing a tutorial on her Instagram with this, and she was talking about how she likes to use this for cream products, and it like was a light bulb moment for me. And I'm like, yes, that would be perfect for cream because it has like a great shape, but it's just a little bit more dense. So I do really like this for cream blush, and I feel like it has a great shape to really get on the apples of the cheekbones and blend out and pick up product. It's dense enough that you can use it with a cream blush and it looks really, really pretty. I think that this would probably be really great with a cream bronzer as well, but I really don't think I own any cream bronzers. I might have a cream contour from years ago that's probably really bad that I need to get rid of. I have a cream bronzer on my wish list, so I can't really speak to how it works for bronzer, but I'm assuming it would work really well because it works great with cream blush. So originally, like I said, this was not a favorite, but I actually do really like it, and I don't have that many brushes. Actually, I don't really have any brushes that I use all the time for cream blush. Normally I just use my fingers and I just tap it in and it works, but I actually really like this. I feel like it blends out really pretty. It's effortless. So this has converted into a favorite, which was quite unexpected. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump on into the eye brushes, and the first one that I want to mention is the 201 brush, and this is just a big fluffy blending brush. It's so classic, kind of reminds me of the Sigma E40, or there's so many brushes like this now, and I do really like this one. It is soft, but it's dense enough that you can definitely really apply product and pack it on and then blend it out. So I think that this is a really good crease brush. It does a really great job blending, but I'm a little hesitant to call it a favorite because I feel like there's so many brushes like this out there, but it is really good. I do enjoy using it. I'm definitely continuing to use it, but if you already have big fluffy brushes in your collection, it's not something that I feel like you need to go out and buy by any means. And then next is the 202, which is a pointed crease brush, and I do really like this one, especially for having hooded eyes. I feel like it really gets right into the crease and disperses product exactly where I want it to go. You can also use it to blend up, and I just feel like it's very soft, and I just love a good super tapered blending brush. You can also use this to apply product in the outer V, and I really like how that looks as well. It is a little bit large for the outer V, so maybe you'll like it more if you have bigger eyes, but I can still make it work. It blends out pretty, and it's just a really good brush. Again, hesitant to say, oh yes, this is an absolute favorite, because if you have brushes like this, then again, I don't feel like you need to run out and buy it. But if you've been looking for a soft, tapered crease brush, if you're looking for something that can really get in your crease and blend out very well, I definitely do like that one. I think it does a great job. And then next, let's see, I'm trying to go in order of the little demo that I filmed, so I'm trying to remember. I think next I used the 205 brush, and this one intrigued me because I've had brushes like this in the past, but I saw someone mentioning this brush and saying that it's perfect for fitting shadow right in the outer V and making sure that your outer V matches on both sides, and that sounded really great to me. But I will say I find that this brush is just a little bit too big. I feel like my outer V is a little bit smaller than this, and it brings it up pretty high, higher than I like it to go, because I'm going to blend it out and then it's going to go higher. And I just wish that I could have this same brush, but just a smidgen smaller. I would really, really like it. It is soft, it does the job, but it's not a brush that I use all the time. It's not like one of my favorite shapes, so it's not a favorite, but it's good. It's good. I don't have any brushes here that are bad, to be honest. But next we're going to go ahead and talk about the 206. And this is kind of like your tapered blending brush that has more of a flat side to it. And this one originally I thought would be kind of like the Sigma E25, MAC 217 kind of vibes, but it's actually a little bit flatter, which I really like because, again, you can get right into your crease. You can use it for your outer V, but also if you're someone who likes to do like one shadow looks, this is really nice for packing shades on the lid because the flat side packs shadow on very well, but then it still has the ability to blend with the more fluffy side, so you can just pack, and then turn it up and blend and be done in like 2 seconds. Especially if you want to do like a 2-minute smoky eye, or I just think that this is a really great brush for people who do 1-minute eye looks or something like that, because it's a lot of versatility real quick. You can even pinch it and do it on the lower lash line if you so please. So I do like this one. I think it's very multi-purpose, and I would say it's a favorite. Okay, so next is the 207, another brush that I love, and this one again has so many purposes. It's just great for detailed work. If you do like to apply shadows in your crease and you want them to be very, very precise, this is a great pencil brush because it's a pencil brush, but it's a little bit fluffy, it's a little bit bigger, so I feel like it's big enough that you can do some crease work. I really like using it for my outer V and just deepening up a little bit without it having to be so big or so, like, it's just a very specific area, so I like how it looks on the outer V. I also love using this along the lower lash line. I feel like it gives a very blended, smoky look, but it is small. It's like the perfect size. It's small enough that I get it right where I want it to be. It's big enough that it blends out and it looks nice and soft, but it's not too big to where it's like raccoon eyes underneath my eyes either, so it's really, really nice for that. I also like using this on my inner corner as well. I feel like it highlights really well. You can get right where you need to go. You can blend it out a little bit, kind of go from the inner corner and blend it onto the lower lash line. So I really like this for like all the like detailed work that I would do on my eyes. You could also use it to highlight underneath your brow bone if you would like, or you could, ooh, I bet you could even highlight on your nose. I haven't done that with this, but I feel like it'd be the perfect shape as well. So I really, really like that one. Next is the 204, and this is a smudging brush. It is a very, very tiny. It's dense, but it's also very soft, so it's not uncomfortable, and I feel like I love this to get right underneath the lower lash line. It's going to be a little bit less diffused as the pencil brush, a little bit more just like a line, which is not bad by any means because you can really get shadow where you want to go, or you could first go in with the pencil brush and kind of get that nice fluffy feel, and then go in with this for the darker shade and kind of shade in the lower lash line and just add a little bit of depth, but keep it very precise. So I do really like this one for the lower lash line. It's the perfect fit, and it never feels uncomfortable, because sometimes smudger brushes, if they're a little bit too dense, I feel like underneath the eyes they're just too harsh. The under eyes is a very delicate area, and I will definitely start having my eyes water, and I don't like that feeling at all. I don't reach for brushes that do that, so I really like this one. I could also see it being good for smudging eyeliner on your top lid if that is something that you like to do. I don't really do that very often, but I do like this, and I feel like it's just a great size. Okay, last but not least is the 203 brush, and this is definitely another favorite. I bought this one on the claim that it applies eyeshadows to your lid the same way that your fingers do. I would argue the finger is still just a teeny bit more intense, and I think that's because your finger has warmth, so it can kind of just, it does something to eyeshadows. I can't explain it, but I do think that this is as close as you can get with a brush and not using your fingers. So if you're someone who has like long nails, or you just don't like putting your fingers in shadow, this is a really, really great option. I feel like it picks shadows up really well. There's minimal fallout, and it has like the perfect size where it's kind of flat, a little bit fluffy. It does a great job at applying eyeshadows to the lid. So I really, really like this one. It doesn't have as many purposes. I don't use it for many other things. I guess technically you could like do underneath your brow. Maybe you could do your inner corner with this if you so please. But I do really just like using it as a lid shader brush. It works great, and it's become a favorite. Okay, so just to sum it up really quickly, my absolute favorites were the 102, the 101, the 104, the 107 for cream products, and then out of the eye brushes, the 203, 207, 204, and 206. Then I almost forgot, also the 208. So that's everything for today's video. I really hope it was helpful. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.